For most galleries and collectors, your art's digital image is their first and only impression of your art. If that image is off, you lose their trust instantly, and the perceived value of your art plummets. So how do you know if your image is right for creating the best possible impression of your art? Today I'm giving you a 5-point checklist to determine if your image is ready to become a professional master image or if it's going to hold you back. I'm Sonia Wilkinson, artist and guide. I've spent over 30 years working with digital images, first as a professional graphic designer and now as a full-time artist. And honestly, even with all that experience, getting my own art ready to share with galleries and art festivals or print was a lot harder than I expected. I learned what actually works and what just wastes your time. That's why I'm sharing this process with you so you can avoid the headaches I went through and jump straight to the good stuff. So first off, check if your art is straight in the digital image. No tilting or weird angles. For this master image, you will want to start with an image that is as close to perfect as possible. Otherwise, the details and textures won't match the original no matter what you do, and sharpness won't be possible. You want to make tiny adjustments here, not a full rescue operation. Next, look at the lighting. The starter image needs light that's even across the whole artwork. No hot spots from direct sun or light exposure, and no dark corners. If the lighting is patchy, you'll end up correcting parts of the image instead of just fine-tuning the overall look, and that can throw off your colors and detail. Check your image for any areas that seem overbright or in shadow, and skip any image that isn't evenly lit to start. By the way, I know these details can be a lot to remember when you're actually sitting down to work, so I put all of these points into a free checklist linked below. It's a great tool for keeping track of your progress and for future edits. We're on number 3, light level. Is the potential starter image slightly darker than the original? Now, this might sound counterintuitive, but you don't want an image that's already bright and punchy. You're looking for something that isn't overexposed, meaning too bright, or grossly underexposed, like super dark. It's much easier to pull subtle details and colors out of an image when it's just a bit on the dark side. Color correcting should be about making a slight tweak for accuracy, not fighting with an image where the details are already non-existent. If you're feeling a bit overwhelmed by the technical side of the pixels and the upscaling, don't worry. I'm building a huge resource for fine artists, including a course on how to digitize fine art. Check out presentyourart.com to learn more. Link is below. Point number 4. Is it sharp? The image you use as a starting point must show the details of your artwork cleanly and accurately. Blurriness kills details and textures, making it impossible to get them back in the digital world. You can't fake texture on the blurry photograph and expect it to look like real paint or graphite. It's just not going to happen. We're on number 5. Is the potential starter image large enough? For your master image, bigger is most definitely better. I always recommend aiming for at least 10,000 pixels in whichever direction. 20,000 is better. Yes, really. You might think that's overkill, but public art projects, murals, utility boxes, even banners can all require enormous files. These projects give you an opportunity to not only get paid for doing your art, but these public art installations will have your name on it and will keep you in the public's eye as well. This is a huge opportunity for artists, and all it requires is being prepared. I'm here to help you with that. The bigger the starter image, the better the final result, if you ever need to scale up. For example, a recent project I worked on was 15 feet tall, which meant the image needed to be 54,000 pixels high. Now, let's take a look at that, imagining you being in this scenario, okay? Let's say your starter image is 4,500 pixels high. A common size you'll see, right? On a phone or camera, whatever. Your print-ready image needs to be 54,000 pixels, right? Divide that by 4,500, what your image has, and you get 12. That's 1,200% to be exact, right? Each pixel of those 4,500 are being asked to do the job of 12. You lose way too much detail with a small image like that. So find an image that's as large as possible. I have images that are 8,000 pixels, 10,000 pixels. Go find one like that and you will be future proof. We have arrived at number 6. Yes, I kind of lied about there being only 5 points. Is your art framed? If your art is sold with a frame, unless it's an intrinsic part of the artwork's concept, like did you see the one where the artwork came from out of the artwork itself and became three-dimensional arms that were, tied to the frame itself? Very cool. In that case, in that situation, that's what I mean by the frame being intrinsically part of the concept of the artwork itself. So in that case, I would only have the one photo and, you wouldn't need to have a second one. For most framed art, jurors for galleries, festivals, competitions, etc., want to see the artwork itself naked, without its frame, as well as with. They want all distractions taken away so they can focus on the true nature of the artwork itself. If your art's image with the frame is easy to photograph, i.e. there's no light hot spots because of the varnish or anything like that, then use one image of your artwork that has the frame installed. Done. Okay? However, if you need a before varnish and frame photo, then you will need both. One of the artwork before it was varnished, because there's no hot spots, and one of the artwork with its frame. Again, I'll explain everything as I go through all the training, including how to merge those two images together, the one with the frame and one without the frame. It's all going to be in this series on YouTube, all to do with creating your master image of your art. Okay? So let's do a recap. This is to choose your starter image to create your art's master image. It's step 1 of several that I'm doing for this series. So first of all, is it straight? Second, is the lighting even? Third, is the lighting a bit darker than the original? 4, is it sharp? 5, is it big enough? And 6, is your art framed? And in that case, if it is, there are some options you need to work with. So that's it, and off to the races you go. Now, your next step. Download the worksheet and the checklist, the same thing. Then go find an image of your art that is as close to being a master already. If it's not perfect, you can still go through this process. Going through it will bring to your attention a whole lot, so you're prepared when you are ready to obtain a higher quality image of your art. And don't forget, I have that course that's in production at this point, all to do with digitizing artwork, whether it's 2-dimensional, 3-dimensional sculptures, whatever. This process will be a tweak to perfect rather than a major change. It's part of obtaining the best result possible. Remember, this image is going to be getting you through all your future applications, posting online, potential art projects. There's a lot at stake here. But don't worry, I got you covered. Now that you have an image to start with, you may be wondering if your art is straight enough. The answer is no, and I'll show you why in the next video. I'll share the quick and easy steps that make it professionally straight without the distracting wonkiness. In my video list going forward, you will find tutorials for both Adobe Photoshop and Affinity by Canva, so you are covered no matter what. Ready to dive in? Let's do it.